What happened when I refused to let a patient die? The night shift was supposed to be calm. At least that's what everyone said as I clocked in. But hospitals never sleep and quiet rarely lasts. By midnight, the ER was buzzing with the usual chaos. Broken bones, drunk drivers, fainting spells. My body moved on autopilot, charting vitals, inserting IVs, responding to calls. Then the doors slammed open and everything changed. Security wheeled in a stretcher. On it lay a young man, barely conscious, his chest heaving with irregular gasps. His skin was pale, lips tinged blue, and his shirt clung to him soaked in sweat and blood. Overdose, one guard muttered. Found in an alley, my heart clenched. Another one. Another body poisoned by the city's supply of cheap highs. His veins were collapsed, arms scarred from old track marks, but his chest still rose, however shallow. He was alive, barely. I rushed forward, slipping on gloves, already calculating the steps. Airway, IV access, oxygen, Narcan if needed. But before I could act, a voice cut through the room. Stop. I froze. The attending physician stood at the foot of the stretcher, arms crossed. His expression wasn't urgency, it was annoyance. Not this one, he said flatly. We're overloaded. No resources to waste. I blinked, sure I'd misheard. He's crashing. We can stabilize. No. His tone hardened. He's a repeat. He's been here 6 times in 2 months. He refuses rehab. He refuses follow-up. He's chosen his path. The stretcher wheels squeaked as the patient's body convulsed weakly. His pulse thudded under my gloved fingers, rapid and irregular. He wasn't gone, not yet. We're not gods, the physician said, voice low. We don't save people from themselves. Document him. Time of arrival. Time of death. The words hit like ice water. Document him? Time of death? He wasn't dead. He was fighting. I looked at the monitor. Oxygen saturation plummeting. Heart rate chaotic. Every instinct screamed to intervene, but the doctor's eyes burned into mine, daring me to disobey. Around us, nurses hesitated, their gazes flicking between authority and conscience. I wanted to scream. Instead, I whispered, he's someone's son. The doctor's jaw clenched. He's a drain, and you'll follow orders. Then he turned away. Just like that. For a moment, the room stood still, except for the struggling sound of the patient's breath. Then I moved. I grabbed the ambu bag, sealing it over his mouth, squeezing oxygen into failing lungs. His chest rose unevenly, but it rose. A flicker of pink returned to his lips. Behind me, I heard the sharp intake of breath from a colleague, then footsteps. The physician stormed back, voice cutting like a whip. What do you think you're doing? I'm saving a life, I shot back. He grabbed my wrist, yanking it away from the bag. You're overstepping. That's an order. The patient's chest fell silent. No rise, no air. My stomach dropped. Look at him, I begged. He's not gone. The doctor's voice dripped venom. You want to risk your license for a junkie? Go ahead. But don't expect me to cover you. Hands shook as I reached for Narcan, my mind racing. If I didn't push it now, his brain would starve. Seconds mattered. But before I could draw up the dose, 2 security guards stepped closer, summoned by the physician's nod. She's ignoring protocol, he barked. They moved toward me, ready to restrain. I clutched the syringe, my body shielding the patient like a barrier. His chest convulsed again, a weak attempt at breath. Please, I whispered, more to him than to anyone else. The guards hesitated. I knew them. They'd seen me work countless nights. They weren't sure what to do. The physician snapped. Do it, get her out. One guard stepped forward, and in that instant, the patient's body arched violently. His monitor flatlined. My heart stopped. No, I shouted, slamming the Narcan into his vein with one hand, while grabbing the ambu bag with the other. Not tonight. Not like this. The room erupted. The physician shouted orders to stand down, but my hands moved faster than thought. Compress, breathe, compress, breathe. The guard hovered, unsure whether to pull me off or help. Then, faintly, beep, a flicker on the monitor, a blip of rhythm, a fragile pulse. I gasped, tears burning my eyes. He's back. The physician's face darkened, a storm of fury barely contained, but he couldn't argue with the monitor. The patient was alive. For now, the fallout was swift. By morning, I was pulled into an office with administration. The physician sat at the head of the table, calm and cold, spinning the narrative, insubordination, reckless behavior, breach of protocol. I tried to explain. His sats, his rhythm, his response to Narcan. This wasn't recklessness, it was medicine. But they didn't want medicine. They wanted obedience. You endangered the team, they said. You escalated the situation. You refused a direct order. Every sentence chipped away at the truth. I walked out suspended. No pay, no defense. Just a scarlet letter stapled to my career. But the weight wasn't the suspension. It was the image seared into me. The patient's pulse returning, fragile but present. Proof that my defiance had bought him another chance. I needed to know if he made it. But HIPAA locked his file and whispers warned me to stay away. Still, I couldn't let it go. I found out through the back channels every nurse uses. The patient had been admitted to ICU, intubated, stabilized. Hours later, he woke up, alive, but the system didn't care. My file grew thicker with accusations. Aggressive, unstable. My history with depression became ammunition. Colleagues who once trusted me now kept their distance, afraid to be pulled down with me. I felt like I was drowning, until one night, a message slipped under my apartment door. No name, no sender, just a folded scrap of paper. It read, he asked who saved him. I told him the truth. I sank to the floor sobbing, because in a world determined to erase me, someone had remembered. The weeks dragged on. Meetings, hearings, interrogations. They twisted my act of mercy into misconduct, my compassion into recklessness. But I clung to the truth like a lifeline. Then, during the final review hearing, something unexpected happened. A voice spoke from the doorway, hoarse, shaky, but alive. It was him. He'd been discharged, thinner but standing, supported by a social worker. He looked at the panel, then at me. She didn't endanger me, he said. His voice cracked. She saved me. When no one else thought I was worth saving, the room fell silent. The physician shifted uncomfortably, anger flickering across his face. But in that moment, the panel saw not just a nurse under scrutiny, but a life that existed because of her defiance. They didn't apologize. They never do. But they reduced the penalty. Probation, monitoring, retraining. My wings were clipped but not cut. And as I walked out, the patient caught my hand. His grip was weak but certain. Thank you, he whispered. I swallowed hard, fighting back tears. Make it count, I whispered back. Months later, I saw him again. Not on a stretcher, not in withdrawal, but at a community center, leading a group meeting. His eyes were brighter, his hands steadier. When he spoke, he said, I shouldn't be alive, but someone refused to give up on me, even when everyone else did. I stood in the back, back, unseen, tears slipping silently down my face, because I knew what it had cost me, my reputation, my safety, my peace of mind. But in that moment, I also knew I'd do it again, every time, even if the world called me reckless, even if it meant being dragged through hearings, humiliated, betrayed. Because sometimes, saving a life means breaking the rules written by people who forgot what it means to care, and as long as I breathe, I'll never forget.